Oh, I think we're live.
Okay. It says live.
It says live. Well, that's
Yeah.
a good start, huh? Let me say hello to everybody. Let me get rid of that. Well, hello, everybody. Who do we have in here tonight? I see 4 people waiting. Who do we got? Deborah. Hey, Deborah, what's going on? I'm going to give them a few minutes. Let's just chit chat and see if we can get a few people in here because I don't want them to miss your story. So,
well, thank you.
We can just chit chat a little bit. How was the Midwest Preparedness Festival? Did it go okay for you?
It was really good. I mean, the guys do a great job putting it together. So it was a great experience, great networking, great opportunities. So no, it was definitely a great opportunity just to meet people and whatnot. So yeah, it's this is our second. That was our second time to be at that event, and it's not. I like not showing off. I like sharing our product and what we have and teaching people when they have questions about what we do.
Yep, cool. Well, Deborah's in here, Catherine's in here, and MJ from Wisconsin's in here. Oh, there's a whole bunch more people. Let me see here. Nowhere Homesteady, what's up, bud? And Silver Lining is in here. I'm watching 2 screens. So I have YouTube up on one screen, and then I have StreamYard, which is the software I use, up on another. And what's weird is the messages don't come together.
Of course not.
You know,
that would be too easy.
That would be way too easy. No. All right, cool. Well, I guess we'll just get rolling.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess let's just start real quick. Tell everybody who you are and what you do so that anybody who wasn't at the Midwest Preparedness Festival would have some idea who we're talking to.
Sure. Well, my name is Ginger Williams. I'm the owner of My Hunny's Kitchen in Gallatin, Missouri, and we focus on freeze-dried foods. So we do freeze-dried meals, we do freeze-dried items, and we're more than just a candy store. We do meat and vegetables and fruit, and we have the meals, and then of course we do have candy, just because that's what's out there. So that is our main focus, is to teach people the importance of having food on hand and making sure that it tastes good.
Yeah, and I've got lots of comments and questions about that. But real quick, you also do some spices stuff, right?
Yeah, we do. We make our own spice blends. We started doing that because I was tired of having to use half a bottle to get good flavor. So I created my own blends, and I don't add the additives that most of them use. So it takes a little bit less, and I believe that food should have flavor. So we have flavorful food, I guess.
Yeah, Silver Lining says she loves your onion chips as a snack.
Nice, absolutely. Try it on a salad. It's amazing on a salad too.
Yep. Hey, I want to welcome Half Bubble Off Plum, which is the greatest name on the internet. I always say this.
No doubt, right? I love that.
I know, right? Barbara, also hello. Whoever jumped in here while we were chit chatting. So now I did a little bit of background on you. No, it's all good, right? Just to kind of understand the story. I visited your guys' website, those kind of things, just kind of read up on it. And you've moved a whole bunch.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to me that your moving has influenced your business. Like when I read that, when I was looking at your website about how, you having to be able to pack and move had a strong influence on your business.
Yeah, it did. Yep.
So talk about that.
So growing up, I was a canner. I mean, I canned and canned and canned. I raised 6 kids, and so we canned whatever we could get our hands on. And every time we moved, we had to pack up all that canning. And you don't think about how heavy it is. We arrived at one of our destinations. We arrived and we didn't have enough room in our house for all my canning. So my sweet husband put it out in the garage. And when we went out to go get food, of course, the weather in Montana is not nice to canning. So I wasted 400 bottles of jelly one year and about 200 bottles of fruit. And that irritated me. But not enough yet to figure something different out. So then I did a whole bunch of number 10 cans because I thought, hey, all this dry food storage would be great to have on hand. We moved that approximately 4 times before my children said, not another time, Mom. So I was like, okay, big and bulky, hard to manage, doesn't stack beautifully. So I called a neighbor up who had 6 children also and said, hey, we're moving. Come get some food storage because I'm not moving it. And then the last time I did some major canning, I just finished my 800th bottle of salsa. And Salt Lake City had an earthquake that year. And somebody asked me what I would do if we had an earthquake in our area. And I just about stopped in my tracks. And I just thought, oh my gosh, what would I do? I know my personality. I think I just shut the door and leave the house and never come back. So that's when I started seriously looking at a different way. So I got my first freeze dryer in 2015. And that year, my 5 apple trees were very, very prolific. And I had bushels and bushels and bushels of apples. And so just to try it out, I did all the apples, put them all in one tote, and I could lift up 5 apple trees worth of apples by myself. And I thought, this is the way to go.
Yeah.
So I was hooked, and here we are.
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting how your experiences impacted your business. Because obviously you said to yourself, I'm not the only one with this problem.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I know lots of people who move and have to pack up their canning or pack up their number 10 cans. And, you know, and that would be the one biggest complaint I've ever heard anybody say. The one time we moved, I put all my canning in one truckload, and we couldn't drive very fast because it almost bottomed out the truck. It's heavy and it's bulky, and, you know, and then when you arrive, you hope that it's all not broken. So yeah, that it definitely has influenced the way we store our food now.
Yeah. So how many freeze dryers do you run now?
I run 10 right now.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
So you can put up some serious food.
Oh yeah. We definitely put some serious food out.
Yeah, how amazing is that? Hey, a couple hellos real quick. Potpourri for Life is in here. Easy, Linda Weaver, Ghetto, what's up, buddy? Yaya, how's it going? Money, Milk and Honey Heritage Farms is here, and Johnny is late. Just so you know.
And Johnny's late.
But he says he was sorry. He was picking a lot of Alaskan sweet peas.
Oh, nice. Those freeze dry beautifully too.
Yeah. So I guess he's got an excuse.
Oh yeah, he does. Yeah.
Okay. Johnny, you better be happy that Ginger's here because you got to pass. I would have not been nice. No, it's all good. Man, running 10 freeze dryers. What kind of, I don't know, maybe you don't know this. What kind of power does that take to run 10 of them?
I would say that it's probably between $30 and $50 a month per machine.
Do you know, do you know how many watts or how many amps it's pulling on all 10 of them?
No, I don't have a clue. I just worry about what the bill looks like each month.
Yeah. Yeah. Is it nice?
It's not bad. Yeah, I would say we have a very old building. So when the air conditioning is going, it takes a lot just to, you know, cool it off. And you do have to keep the back room cool where the where the freeze dryers are. So I'd say we still are less than $1,000 a month. And I know that sounds like a lot, but it's not when it's overhead, you know.
Yeah, not really. When you're running a whole store and 10 freeze dryers.
Yeah, no, I don't feel like that's bad at all.
Yeah.
We did get rid of a freezer. That helped save a little bit.
I've always been resistant to getting a freeze dryer because I live off grid and I have to produce all my own power. And so if they would make them to where you could shut them off at night and kick them back on in the morning, I'd probably be okay with it. But because I got to run them all the way through the night. Yeah, there are several people who do run them through the night and are off grid. Yeah. And they said that seems to do really well. So, you know, but yeah, I don't know. I know when we lived off a grid, we had an inverter and a battery bank, but and we ran a regular refrigerator, everything else. But I don't know if it would have done a freeze dryer back then. Yeah, we run everything just like normal too. I have air conditioners and all that. When I'm just worried about the extra load, I wouldn't be able to do it. But maybe Ginger, I would admit to you that I'm probably uneducated in this department. So, hey, well, I could hook you up with the right people to talk to about that, because that's definitely, something to be concerned about. But I am 100% behind freeze dryers. I think that they're a fantastic item. I'm glad that Harvest Right came out with them. I'm glad that there's now competition for Harvest Right.
that is one of the biggest things. That's kind of like, somebody else, please come out with a freeze dryer, so that Harvest Right's got a little bit of competition.
Yeah, that's
So,
a good thing. Hey, by the way, Bobby Spags is in the house.
hey, Bobby.
And yeah, so he's saying hello. And TJ and George is in the house, and he wants to know, how much does one freeze dryer cost?
A medium freeze dryer costs between $3,000 and $3,500, depends if you can catch it on a sale. You can also buy them refurbished. If you buy it refurbished, it's about $2,800, and it comes with the same warranty as a brand new one. So that's what I get. When I bought the large ones, I just got my first extra large, and it does twice as much food as a large, and they run about $5,000. But you can also, they said in about 6 months they'll probably start having some refurbished ones, so they'll be coming in at a better price that way too.
Yeah, well, and with inflation, I would imagine the prices, as Nowhere Homestead talked about, how the prices probably are just going to keep going up, would be my guess.
Oh, sure. Absolutely.
So how are they as far as maintenance? Because I know when they first came out, there was a lot of people, at least in my circles that I run in, there's a lot of people complaining about them. Has any of that changed?
I would have to say I have one machine that I fight with all the time. And so I fight with it, and then I fight with Harvest Right. And finally, I think it took us about 6 months, and I have had less problems with it. And they've been great for me to work with. I do know that they've been a problem for a lot of people. But when I call tech support, sometimes I have a different attitude than a lot of people too. And I figure the person on the other end of the line, they're just doing their job.
Right.
So I don't attack them with, what the heck's wrong with my machine. So, but I have had, I'd say my pumps are the worst. The pumps are the biggest problem I've had. I have a lot of, I've just switched from oil pumps to the premium pump. So it's not oil free, but it's the next one. So you just change the oil every like 30 loads. And so I've had less problems with those. So maintenance wise, it's just a matter of being patient and, checking in with tech support, or there's several people online now who have some great helps. So, and if you get online and you're in some of the communities, Facebook communities and so forth, they're fantastic. They're more than willing to help. They have great ideas that are easy fixes.
Yeah. So how often is it the majority of the time all 10 machines are working, or is it the majority of the time one's down?
Nope. My thought process is, if it isn't full, it's not making money.
Good process. Hey, Barbara S says there's a sale right now until May 31st. And Silver Linings wants to know, how is the customer service at Harvest Right?
I have had no problems. I know that I've heard other people say they've had awful problems with them, but I have personally never had a problem with customer service. Everybody's been kind. Everybody's been helpful. They're sometimes I have to chase somebody down, but the guy that I bought my very first machine from in 2015, we are still in contact. And if I have a problem with anybody, he's the guy I call. So
yeah. Well, I have heard lots of negatives, just meaning that the machines are temperamental, but I've never heard anything bad about their customer service. Everyone I've talked to said their customer service was fine. It's just the machines break down all the time.
Well, and the problem was the machines, I think, were doing great until COVID hit. And then all of a sudden, everybody and their brother got so concerned that Harvest Right got slammed. And so then trying to get the parts in, and then trying to get the people to come in and build the machines, and just an overload. And they weren't prepared for that in any way, shape, or form. And so I think that they were sending out subpar equipment at that time.
Yeah, part of your story that I found fascinating was that you opened the doors to this endeavor during COVID. We'll talk about that in a minute, but I want to go back a little bit and let's talk about your pizza restaurant and what was that like? And then did you always know you were going to do something else?
I'm always looking for a new adventure. My husband says that nothing grows still under my feet. I'm always looking for something new, something exciting, something challenging. This has definitely been the most challenging that I've ever done. But my pizza restaurant, my husband came home one day. He was a carpet layer at the time. And he says, "Hey, how do you feel about opening a pizza restaurant?" I said, "What?" I said, "I don't know anything about pizza." I said, "I've never even made it." I said, "Do we go to Pizza Hut and buy it and then resell it? I don't know." He goes, "No, we'll make our own pizza." And I went, "Okay." So we found a really old building in American Fork, Utah, and started refurbishing it. In the process, I started working on my pizza dough and my pizza sauce. And our friends got to the point when we'd call them over for dinner, they'd say, "Are we having pizza again?" So it took us about 6 months, and then we had a pizza restaurant, and it was great. We had people come from all over the place to have pizza, and we actually developed the pizza pocket, and that was our big seller. And we had an arcade, and so we had all the kids around, and that was a lot of fun. So
how'd you move from pizza to freeze-dried food and spices?
Well, let's see. There was a lot of moves in between. So when we had baby number 6, we also moved out in the middle of the boonies and we're off grid. And that took a lot of time. So we sold our pizza restaurant and I focused on raising the kids. And in doing that, I just became secretary for my husband's construction company. And then I went in holistic medicine. And I still do that when I'm not busy doing this. And so, yeah, so it just, we just started doing the spices at home, started giving them to our kids. And then I was teaching, and I would teach classes every once in a while, whatever needed to be taught, from holistic to cooking to food preservation. And I went from Utah to Montana to my hometown and was teaching a class on spices and food storage. And my mom said, "Hey, this guy down at the restaurant wants to know about your spices." And I said, "What?" So we went down, had lunch, and he goes, "I'd like to look at your spices your mom told me you were bringing to town." So I took him in and he bought my first batch of spices. And he goes, "You should market this." And I had never thought of it. So we went from that to people started buying some of my food, my freeze-dried stuff from home. And I thought, I wonder if there's really a market for this. And then I thought, that's a dumb question to ask, because of course there's a market for this.
Right.
So there we are. So my son said, "Mom, let's do this." So, and Utah's really expensive to live in. And so we actually had found this building that we're in, I'd say back in 2018, it had come up for sale. And in 2020, it was still 2019, because we bought it 19. It was still for sale. So we bought it sight unseen, and it had been a coffee shop. So it already had my kitchen. It already had the things in it. And then we spent probably another 6 months refurbishing this and getting it set up to do this. And here we are in Missouri.
Yeah, well, I think it's absolutely amazing that you took a need that you had and a love that you had and combined them and made a business out of them. You know, I'm an entrepreneur. I don't know if you know much about my story, but I ran big companies for a long time.
I did actually read your story when you were what did you call yourself? A recovering
executive?
Yeah, something like that. When you were talking,
yeah, I'm recovering. I'm almost fully recovered. I got dirt under my nails. So
nice, perfect. That's the way it should be.
Right, we're making it. Hey, a couple questions real quick. So Johnny wants to know: are Harvest Right, are the freezers, where are the parts made?
I honestly couldn't tell you. I do know that they build the Harvest Rights there in Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
And I don't know where all the parts would come from, but I've been to their plant, and it's I know the Harvest Rights manufactured in Salt Lake.
Yeah. Okay. And then MJ, my friend from Wisconsin, says, what are some of the average load run times to your freezers?
Candy you can do in 2 to 4 hours.
Okay.
And then if you're going to do something heavy, like when I do cream, or when I do like right now I've got chicken and broccoli and rice, because that was Bobby's favorite. Anyway, I just better put a load of that in, and that'll probably take a good 40 hours.
Yeah. So is that kind of your spectrum, is a couple hours to about 40 hours?
Yep.
Depending on what you're...
Entirely depends on what you're putting in it.
Yep. Juby Joe wants me to know that they think you're a wonderful woman.
Oh, thank you.
And Johnny says you're a keeper.
Thanks. My husband says that too after almost 40 years.
How cool is that, right?
Right? Yeah.
That's a success story. If there's anything else, that's the success. 40 years is a long time. Hey, I
Yeah,
want to say
yes.
hello to Coraline and Rosie, who are both in the house, who have joined us,
Hi,
which is
guys.
pretty cool. Okay, so you're in a pizza place. You leave that. You go to start this building or start this new adventure of freeze drying food because it answered a need that you particularly had in moving. And then your spices, but I did not know this. You mentioned holistic medicine. Can you talk a little more about that? Because we're going to wing this right here because I did not know this.
Mostly because I love holistic medicine. That is probably next to food storage. That's my next passion.
Okay.
When my youngest son was born, he got RSV, and he was also about 6.5 weeks premature. So he was sent to Primary Children's Hospital and was not expected to come home alive. So when he did come home, I was told that he'd never run and play like a normal child. He would have scar tissue that would hinder that his entire life, and he would probably have asthma, and he'd probably get pneumonia every year. At that point, I had 5 very, very active children, and all I thought is, I don't have time for this. So, which I know is really selfish, but I had a really weird friend who did herbs.
So are all of our herb friends weird? Because my herb friends are weird.
Well, yeah, no, I mean, and I'm one of them now. So, I mean, I know I'm weird, but she was the only weird person I knew that did herbs. And so I called her and said, I need you to teach me. I need to know how to take care of this boy so that he can be a normal child. And so we started dousing that poor kid up with garlic like you wouldn't believe it. He was the stinkiest, cutest baby in the town. But at 6 weeks, when he went back for another checkup, the scar tissue was gone. He did get pneumonia the next year, but he's never had any breathing issues his entire life, and he just turned 30 this year. He played baseball in high school, and so I was hooked. My mother was determined that I had crossed over to the dark side. And we quit going to the doctor for strep throat and ear infections and so forth, and took care of those things at home. And then I got introduced to foot zoning and fascia rolling. And so now I'm certified in those things, and I absolutely love them. I love being able to help people live a better life, and reaching out and just getting to know people. I always tell people I'm not a people person, but I guess deep down inside I am a service people person. So yeah.
Well, I think that's neat. Did you get a chance to, when we were at the Midwest Preparedness, to listen to Callie's story?
I heard part of her story. Yeah. It was amazing. I thought she's my soulmate.
She reminds me of you now, right? Because
she's amazing. So
Silver Lining, who's in here, she was out at the Midwest Preparedness. You met her out there. She bought stuff from you, but she was specifically the weird herb lady I was referring to.
Nice.
My conversation. And Potpourri for Life is in here too, and she'd be right up there probably with another weird herb lady. But they're both here. We love them, but they are definitely weird.
It takes weird people to appreciate weird people.
Yeah, gotta love it, right?
Yep.
Okay, so something else you said that I found interesting when I was, not what you said to me, but when I was reading and researching you, is you talked about how the spices that you make, that they are putting stuff in them to make them where they don't cake.
Yep.
And that this is something, and I think it lays right into what you were talking about too, about feeding good food and holistic medicine and all of those things. Those anti-caking agents that are in there can't be healthy for you, right? I mean, what can you tell us about that?
Well, I can't remember the exact name that they use, but I figure if I can't pronounce it, then it's probably not good for me. But then the other thing I found out is that some of them actually use sawdust in your spices, so that yeah. So I thought, well, I don't need to put sawdust in so some of my spices cake, so you have to break them up a little bit because, onion powder is great for caking, especially here in Missouri where they have this thing called humidity. It's a very, Montana and Utah does not have humidity like this. So, but yeah, so it was interesting to find out. And that's when I do my holistics, my foot zoning and so forth, I always tell people, I drink Diet Coke, so I can't preach to people that you have to do better, because if I'm doing that, then, that's a little hypocritical. But I'll tell people, this is part of your body that's telling me that you're not eating well, and that, you could fix this. And that there's a lot of things we can do with our well-being and in our well-being, eating properly. And, and that's the other thing in freeze drying. you maintain 97% of your nutritional value. Mm-hmm. And so if you're making good, wholesome food without all the additives and all the garbage, then you can maintain the value of the, the nutritional value of that food, and then have your food storage, be nutritional too. Mm-hmm. So that's one of the things we did with our blends, our spice blends, because I didn't want it to have all that extra crap in there. So,
yeah, you talking about drinking Diet Coke doesn't make you a hypocrite, Ginger. It makes you real.
I figure I can be doing a lot worse.
No, there are times where I stop and buy a Snickers. There's times where, I'm a coffee addict. I love my coffee. I brew it myself, but I love my coffee, whatever. So, none of us are perfect, but I think the quest to live as healthy as you can, it's so interesting to me. And I talk about this all the time on my channel about how we can buy our way to energy independence. I can buy my way to shelter independence. I can buy my way to water independence. I can buy my way to almost every single one of them, but the one I can't buy is food independence. You can't, you got to hustle. You got to work. It's the only way you're going to get there, Yep. So I think you're tackling the hardest of all of the ways to become independent.
It's fun.
Yeah. Would you agree with that statement, that it's the hardest? Yeah. I mean, you have 10 freeze dryers, so you might find it easier, but.
Well, the thing is I've still got to be able to get the food, and I've got to make sure the food is still good quality food. Unfortunately, what this does not do is allow me a lot of time for gardening. So that's where it kind of breaks my heart, when it's kind of like, I would love to be able to say I have actually, grown everything I freeze dry. I've, so I try to find the best sources of food. My meat sources I have found local, and he makes sure that nothing's injected and so forth. But because I am a commercial, I have to make sure everything's a USDA, so I can't go out and get all those farm fresh eggs that happen to be local. I have to go, to the supplier and get USDA eggs, and so it's kind of like you got to work around what you've got to work around to make things happen properly. But yeah, it's a matter of what you put in your body in terms of like all the preservatives. We don't need all those preservatives. We can, and if we can maintain all the nutritional value of our food, that makes it even better. But if you can only can your food, so be it. But you lose about 50% of your nutritional value when you can food.
Right.
But it's still better than nothing.
Right.
And, nothing, my husband will tell you that I am the worst person. I do not like to throw away food. If there's leftovers in the freezer, I will bring them down to the store and I'll put them in a freeze dryer. And we're having leftovers 25 years from now. So.
Yeah, MJ from Wisconsin says, I love people who can think outside the box. Potpourri for Life says there's sawdust and spices, tea, and supplements, which I did not know.
Yes, and cheese. Grated cheese.
I did not know that.
Yep, that's how come it doesn't stick.
Really?
Yep.
I have a sawmill. I ought to go into business.
Absolutely.
Silver Lining said, put a few kernels of rice in that stuff that wants to cake. It works great, but you use beans. Tell me about that.
I use beans because when you take the lid off to go pouring your stuff into your soup or whatever, nothing's going to be worse than getting that chunk of rice in there to, have to pick out. So beans are a little bit easier to pick out than rice.
Yeah, especially as you get older like me and you can't see as well.
Right, exactly. Yep, same problem. So we use beans.
You use beans. Okay, so so you go to Missouri. Oh, by the way, before I get there, I have a farm that I've got to introduce you to in Missouri.
Okay.
So I've got very good friends who own Tabletop Ranch in Missouri, and they're organic farmers, and they are the best I've ever seen. They don't.
Oh.
I mean, they are the best. I'm talking about commercial size farms. Okay. And their name, if you have a pen on you, write them down. It's Tabletop Farms.
Hold on. Let me write. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, you're right. I wonder if somebody in here could post their website or something for us. But anyway, it's tabletopmissouri.com. But anyway, they're a young couple. But I'm going to tell you, we buy produce from them all the time, even though we have big gardens. They grow the best of everything. They're just so good at it. So maybe Ginger, I can hook you up with them because at the end of the day, you know, and everybody on my channel knows this, I talk about community.
100%, 100%.
Yeah, and you may not have the time to garden, but there's other people who are gardening.
Right, and
right?
if they're big in commercial, then I should be able to use their products.
Yes, and they raise cattle, they raise pigs, they raise produce,
Beautiful.
they raise chickens, they raise eggs, and they're super like-minded. I've gone out there and spoken to their community, you know, and they're a great couple. I love them to death. They're
Now,
good.
what part of Missouri are they in?
Let me look here. I'm gonna look it up, just because I can't. Let me see here. I want to say Carthage, but hey, let me look here. Tabletopmissouri.com. I've been on their website 100 times. I order stuff from them. Oh yeah, now it says they can't be reached. Right. Okay, then hold on. You know, I love 2 screens.
I say my son has 3 in here, and I'll tell you what, I'm not sure how I feel about that.
I love 2 because like what I can do, I can sit here and talk to you, and then
and look at things.
Tabletop Farms, Missouri. Let's try that. Oh yeah, it's right there. Okay, so they are in. Let me see here. Well, let me click up pick up locations. Where do they pick up at? Lenexa, Kansas City. Okay, Chillicothe, Missouri is where they're from.
Oh, okay. They're like 40 minutes away.
That's what I'm saying.
Nice. I love it.
This is what I'm saying, and they're great. They are great at what they do.
Perfect. I will definitely contact them. That's close enough. I can go pick it up.
Yeah. Well, and it's like-minded, right? It's about building that counter or that parallel economy where we can all play one part in this huge cog of preparedness.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm all about trying to build a community and trying to get things, you know. Gallatin's not a ghost town, but it's definitely a deader town. I mean, and I get to be part of a couple of groups that our job is to help reactivate our community here. And so that's been kind of a fun thing to be part of also just locally, trying to rejuvenate this community. So.
Yeah, Bobby says they're 25 minutes from you because they don't live in Chillicothe. They live outside of Chillicothe.
Sweet.
That's farm, 25 minutes. Hey,
I will definitely reach out to them tomorrow.
Yeah, well, and I can connect you if you want me to. When we get done here tonight, what I'll do is I'll connect you to and make a warm introduction via email, and then off you guys go. And I think it could be a beautiful relationship.
Yeah, no, that's great. I love it.
Yeah,
perfect.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, if we could get our produce from someone in the community, get our foods free-dried from people in the community, right? Spices from people in the community. Awesome, right? It's just awesome.
This is perfect. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Juby Joe wants to know what kind of beans you put in.
I use 3 navy beans and 1 red bean, just because they're colorful. It's what I had when I started, so it's kind of what I stick to. So
yeah. Well, actually, the thing makes sense because if you put rice in a spice, I'm never going to see it personally. I don't have good enough.
Me neither, especially if you put in minced onions or minced garlic and so forth. It kind of just blends in. Yeah. So, yeah, trust me, I tried it, and it doesn't look so great when you're, you know, crunching on rice in your soup because you missed it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
this is also, I'm going to make this connection for you when we get off here tonight, and you guys. They're a great place. I don't know what they have, what they don't have as far as FDA, this, that. You'll just have to ask them because I've never asked.
Yeah, we'll find out. That'd be fantastic.
Yeah. Hey, Sweet Savory Words is in here tonight, and she wants to know, hey, have you heard of castor oil compresses for breast cancer?
Yes. And I would put helichrysum in with that.
Okay, say that again. Which one?
Helichrysum.
Okay, I don't even know what it is.
It's a big word.
Yeah, especially for people like me.
So helichrysum is a great, that one, and patchouli is another good oil to put in with the castor oil compress. But yes, castor oil compresses are fantastic for a lot of different things, but I have heard of them being used for breast cancer.
Yeah, can you, Juby Joe wants to know if you can spell that.
Which one?
The first one that I said, what is that?
No. Actually, here, you know what? We can. Hold on. We will go out here. I think I have some out here.
Okay, cool. Rock on.
So we're at the store still. So.
Oh, cool.
Let's see here. Let's find it. Yeah, spelling's not ever been my forte.
I couldn't spell it, so don't feel bad.
I know it starts with H-E-L-I. That's about as far as I can get.
Okay, H-E-L-I. Ella. How do you
And
say
then
that?
C-H.
Okay, I got it. So it's Helichrysum.
See, I was close. I was getting there.
Okay. Oh, where am I at here? Oh, I think I got off that already. Well, that's too bad. Maybe. Yep, already got off of it. Anyway, yeah, so that's super cool. So I wanted to talk about another thing too that's gone on in your guys' lives, because I think that at the end of the day, community matters. And we have to stick up for each other, and whether we know each other, whether we don't know each other, if we're like-minded, if we're freedom loving, if we're just trying to do the right thing, we have to do that. And you guys kind of had a tragedy happen to you guys recently. And by the way, I have some advice for you on this, because I don't know if you know this or not, I come from the insurance world. I know it well. Okay.
Nice.
And I'm going to help you fight. But
thank you.
Okay, we're going to get to that. But real quick, so why don't you tell us a little bit about your building, why it's wonderful, what happened, where we are now, and tell me the chaos.
Our building was built in 1893, so it's 130 years old. It's got a lot of history here in the community. It's been a grocery store and bakery. It's been a apothecary. It's been a lot of numbers of different things. Turns out that my daughter-in-law is actually related to one of the original owners of this building. So kind of has come full circle in the family, I guess. Anyway, when we purchased it, we're on the end of it's not like a strip. Well, it is. It's a strip of buildings. The buildings were all connected in those days. And so we were on that corner, and we had a wind come in, and some of the bricks were obviously loose enough, and the wind started to tear the bricks off of the exterior of our wall. And so let me be clear, we are still able to operate inside because it's like 3 layers of bricks. So it's the veneer. So outside it's just not very pretty. But it is causing more and more damage, and people, I don't know that you can fix stupid, but people continue to walk in front of the wall, and we have it taped off, we have it blocked off, and they still walk on the sidewalk. We've had, in fact, I'll tell you what, we can take a jaunt outside really quick since I'm here. Cool. And I will show you my beautiful wall.
Okay, cool.
But anyway, we thought when we first happened that our insurance company that we've been paying for the last few years would take care of it. And it took them.
Oh, I think we might have lost her, or you all lost me, one or the other. Milk and Honey says that they need to take a field trip. Milk and Honey, I would 100%. There you are.
Sorry, we're.
Oh yeah, look at that. See it? Yep. Yep.
So anyway, so the engineer came out and told us what we needed to do, and then 2 weeks later, the insurance company said, "Oh, by the way, it's an old building, so we're not going to cover it." So anyway, so we're stuck with $118,000 worth of damage to our building, and it keeps shedding brick. So
you may not want to answer this question, and if you don't, it's okay. Just say, I don't want to answer. Okay, who's the insurance company?
Farm Bureau.
Okay, Farm Bureau. All right. So here's the cool news about Farm Bureau is that they are member owned.
Okay.
Okay. So there's a couple pieces of advice that I would give you. And again, I spent 25 years in the insurance and investment world. Okay. I ran big companies that did this. So the first thing is, in the state of Missouri, there's a thing called the Department of Insurance. Inside the Department of Insurance, there is a customer hotline in there. And their whole job is to protect the customer against these big insurance companies. I can tell you, Ginger, that the insurance company will, I mean, the insurance department of the state of Missouri will lean in favor of the customer 100% of the time. The insurance company is going to have to prove they're wrong. The
Okay.
insurance company is going to have to go out of their way. But here's the thing: to get the Missouri Department of Insurance up off their tail, you're going to have to pester them a little bit. Pretty quick, they're going to get tired of hearing it. And, you know, and I would say things like, look, are you here to protect me or you're not? I paid my insurance premiums. They
Right.
accepted the liability as soon as we took out the policy.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
right? They accepted the liability. So unless your policy says we accept the liability for everything except for the fact it's an old building, you have a case.
Okay. Yeah, because I went and talked to my agent, which I realized he's not the guy who made the decision. But I finally just said to him, I said, look, I said, so what if I go talk to the boss of the boss of the guy that made this choice? I said, do I stand the chance of being canceled? And he said, I won't say no.
Yeah, though you do stand a chance.
Yeah, absolutely. And my problem is I still have to have insurance, and I don't know that my building is currently insurable. So that's why I have not rocked boats yet.
Yes, and so you have to choose whether or not to rock the boat. But I can tell you that if you file a complaint with the Missouri Department of Insurance on the customer side, the company has no choice but to respond within 14 days. It's a law.
Okay. All right.
Okay, they have to respond. So, but you are going to rock the boat, and they will cancel you.
Yeah, that's my biggest fear right now. That's why I keep thinking if I can get the wall fixed, then I can go get insurance someplace else, and then say, hey, I want reimbursed for all of this.
Yeah, and you can go back on it years later and say, I mean, the statutory limitations will run out before long, but you can go back for some period of time. And I think, don't quote me on this, but I think it is a year where you're at. Don't quote me on that though, because I'm not 100% up to speed.
I say I do have feelers out right now for at least to have some insurance quotes already in hand, so that the minute I do, I'm already I am already, you know, I'm sure I will get canceled no matter what I do.
Yeah.
So that I've kind of been waiting for that letter to come in. So
yeah, the good news is you have a lot of fight, and you know they don't want you to know this. But I'm telling you, the worst thing for an insurance company, if we were to get a complaint from the insurance department, we scrambled. We did everything we needed to do to stop it, because a regulator, the insurance department, has the ability to walk into that insurance company and say, you're done, shut the doors.
Oh, wow. Okay.
They can walk in, they do what's called a cease and desist order. And they walk in and say, nope, you're not a good customer. You're not a good insurance company. You're taking advantage of people. I will see you in court, shut the door down. And then they're losing tens and hundreds of millions of dollars every day, because they decided to piss off a lady who ran a freeze-dried food company. Just saying.
Nice. I think we'll definitely be filing this week.
Yeah. So, okay. So what, Juby Joe wants to know, what year was the building built again?
1893.
1893. Hey, DeVries Custom Leather is here. Another like-minded business. They make leather goods. I met them in Tennessee. They made me a Freeman belt. And it's the coolest belt. I wear it every single day. Yep, it's really, really cool. Juby Joe also says, awesome advice and thanks for sharing. So how do people support you? I mean, if people want to get involved and help you go get on the offense or go get in the fight, I know you've done some fundraising. I know there's some stuff that's going out there. Why don't you just talk about that so that people know?
Sure. We do have a GoFundMe page, and I was gonna be so efficient and have this all figured out for you before we even got online. And now I'm having to use my phone because my microphone's not working on my.
Well, the good news is that Bobby Spags already posted the link to your GoFundMe page. It's already in there.
Okay, perfect.
You just have to talk about it. That's all you got to do.
So we do have a GoFundMe page. We also, if anybody has a classic car, on July 1st, we're going to be doing a classic car poker run. And we will start here at the store, and it will end at the 35 in Winston at their racetrack. They have a racetrack outside of Winston. So anyway, so if anybody has a classic car and wants to participate, or if they just want to come and participate in the poker run without a classic car, they can do that too. Anyway, so and then we'll be raffling off a lever action, Golden Boy lever action rifle, and hopefully that'll bring in a little bit. So that's currently what we have, and we'll just see what we can get from there. My husband is my contractor, so I can save money with the labor. So it's just a matter of getting enough brick to take care of the wall.
Yep. Well, I have another idea for everybody.
Sure.
Here's a beautiful, wonderful idea, much like calling the insurance department. I have another great one.
Okay.
Buy some product.
There we go. I love it.
Right?
Yeah,
too, right?
absolutely. You can go to myhoneys.com and pick up some product.
Yep, there you go. And just as you said that, boom, there's the link right in the chat. Look at that.
Perfect.
I've got some good friends of mine. I don't know if you've met Grumpy Acres out at the camp out. You know, they live eight miles from me, and they freeze dry a lot. Now, they don't freeze 10 freeze dryers and all that, but they've got a couple, and, you know, and they do a lot of that. And I always go over there and steal a bag of banana chips every time.
Oh, yeah.
And they know it. I'm taking a bag of banana chips. Bill me, invoice me, whatever you got to do. I don't care.
Right.
Because they're just that good.
Yeah, I love, actually, my favorite is pineapple. Pineapple's like candy.
Really? I've never had it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It's, the first time I did pineapple, my son, one of my boys was visiting. And so I gave him a gallon bag of pineapple, and that's probably equivalent to, I'd say 3 or 4 pineapple. Yeah. And he had a 2.5 hour drive home, and he called me in about half an hour. He says, "So I just ate the whole bag." And he says, "And my mouth hurts really, really bad." Well, you kind of deserve that. But anyway, no, pineapple's just like candy. So it's you know, nature's candy when it's freeze dried.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Well, you know, I got to tell you, there's a lot I've learned about you tonight that I didn't know. I think the natural healing stuff is big. I think we're being poisoned by processed foods every single day. I think we're being poisoned by the clothes that we wear. We're being poisoned by the air that we drink, the air that we breathe, and the water that we drink. And we have to continue this fight. You know, to go do it. So what advice would you give somebody? What are the 3 or 4 or 5 oils that everybody should have at their house? Let's start right there. Yeah.
Everybody should have peppermint oil. Peppermint oil is great for fevers. It's great for tummy aches. It's great for headaches. It's great for just settling down your nerves. You should have lavender. It's great for anxiety. It's great for settling things down. It's great for napping. Helichrysum is great for healing. And then I'd have to say that probably rosemary and patchouli is another good one that's like super like covers a lot of bases. And then if you're feeling like you really need to have a few extra, you should throw some frankincense in there. Frankincense is an amazing oil, and it covers a lot of things. And then I would say that my other favorite oil that I like to use is, I like lemon, because lemon's a good cleansing astringent. You can throw it in your tea. You can throw it in your water. It's great for your kidneys. It's great for your liver. So you can throw that in there too. But those, I mean, if you had those, you could get you could do some things.
Yeah, you know, my wife uses oils for everything, and I can tell you guys, for you guys out there, lavender to me is the super one, and it's super because, like, when I get welding burns on my arms or a sunburn or any skin-related stuff, man, it just whoops it.
Yeah,
it just
absolutely.
And I don't know if you ever dropped a ball of lava molted metal through your tennis shoe, because you shouldn't be wearing tennis shoes while you're welding. I have, and it was no fun.
My husband's done that through his shirt on his chest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's painful, I'm sure. I mean, it's kind of funny because I laugh at him when he does it. But, you know, again, it's like walking on the sidewalk under a falling brick wall. So
right. Yeah, it's just going to take a minute. I'm just going to tack weld this one thing, and it'll be done. It'll be a good press weld.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Milk and Honey Heritage wants to know, is the rice that pre-cooked first that you would put in something to absorb? But I would assume no.
Yes. No, it is. I pre-cook everything. Yep, the noodles are pre-cooked, and so is the rice.
Okay, that's what she's got. Okay, got it. What would you recommend? This is from Sweet Savory Words. What would you recommend for backed up lymph nodes?
Backed up lymph nodes? I would get a massage on my lymphs. And that's where fascia rolling would come in handy. so that you can release all of that, because your fascia, your lymphs run through your fascia, and if your fascia is full of toxins, then that will squeeze off your lymphs, so that would then back them up. So there's a place you can go on, the Fascinator, FASCIONATOR.com, I believe, and they have, or even on their YouTube, and they have a lot of different ways. They'll show you how to use a fascia roller. Then that's what I would do. Your lymphs in your groin and under your arms and in your neck, and you can help release a lot of that.
Yeah, Milk and Honey said thank you for the answer, by the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Spag says goodness tag. I don't know what he's saying goodness about. Pineapple freeze dried is so good. Chopping weeds and pruning tomatoes. See if I missed anybody here. Juby Joe says ginger has been a blessing for them today.
Well, thank you.
Yep. Lemongrass, oregano, and frankincense, says Jules, are her go-to.
Yep, those are wonderful too. In fact, peppermint and lemongrass are great for like leg cramps and stuff. So I have a bottle of both of those in my bed.
My wife uses oregano to treat chickens.
Yep, and I use lemongrass to treat my bees.
Oh, okay.
Thyme also for our bees.
Oh, let's talk about that. My wife's a beekeeper, and so nice. So how do you use it? Tell me about that.
So like when they have, I would love to say it's one of their bugs that they get.
Mites?
I don't know if it's the mites. Mites, I think we do the sugar on them. It's something else. Anyway, I just know that we make a patty for them and we put thyme in it. And that then they'll eat the patty and that gets rid of whatever it is we're trying to get rid of. I am not the beekeeper. I just make the patties. And then when you want to like catch a swarm, lemongrass is a great way to catch swarms.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I was just curious how I treated it, because my bride would be all about how in the world to do stuff like, oh my gosh, I'm so behind. I didn't see all them other comments. Let me see. Sweet Savior Word says oregano, question mark. I think you see
oregano of hot oil. It burns. So if you use oregano, make sure you put a carrier oil underneath it. It's great for taking off moles and warts. And a lot of your oils, if they're hot oils, you can put them on the bottom of your feet, because your feet are the biggest pores in your body, so that it'll absorb into your body and go where it needs to go. So you've got to be careful with the hot oils, though, like peppermint and oregano and cinnamon and those kind of things, because they will burn, especially little kids.
Yeah. So do you think we absorb petroleum products out of our shoes?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
This is something I've been reading about lately. It's got to be kind of new to me. And my wife said the same thing. Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
like, you learn that in 4th grade, like something. But
well, I mean, we absorb everything in our feet because the pores are so big. In fact, the first time I gave my husband a foot massage using essential oils, he said, "What's that taste in my mouth?" And I said, "That would be called frankincense."
Really?
Yeah. So it was weird. And my mother-in-law did the same thing when I gave her a foot massage. She said, "Yeah, you can taste whatever it is and then it was rosemary, so she could taste it from her feet."
Wow. Now I know my beautiful bride is listening, and we were discussing a foot massage to see if I tasted it. And so there's an agenda going on, Miss B. Just FYI, so you know. Right?
There you go.
Courtesy of Ginger. Yeah.
Well, make sure it's an oil that smells really good that you want to taste. So.
Okay. The MJ from Wisconsin says, "What is the shelf life of oils?"
Depends on the oil and depends on how often you keep them open. I have some oils that are probably 5 years old, and I would say that my one lady tells me she's got some that are 10 years old, but I would start saying that they're definitely losing their potency. I try to keep them no longer than 5 years, but I also at that point then make a whole bunch of ointments, so I can use them up or whatnot. But my husband's pretty sure that that's where our savings account was into the oils. So it'll be a great trade, I mean, it'll be a great bartering tool for when the time comes that I'll have stuff that we can trade for medicine and whatnot. So
yeah. So Catherine Sword wants to know, is it financially feasible for a couple to invest in a freeze dryer? We would have to purchase the food to freeze dry. We are in our early 70s.
Would you leave it with to somebody afterwards?
Mm-hmm.
I would say no. I don't know. I mean, if you were using it all the time, and if you kept it busy, and if you were creating your food storage from scratch, and if you were, then I would say yes, but at 70 years old, now granted, you might live to be 100 years old, and then you've got your 25 years worth of food storage all supplied, you're set. But at this point, if you're looking at 10 years worth of food storage, then it might be just to be easier to buy it a little bit at a time. Mm-hmm. We did buy 2 machines from people who purchased the machines, looked at them, and said too much work and never even turned them on. They're heavy, they're bulky, and I personally don't find that they're a lot of work, but they're intimidating. Yeah. If you don't, it's a big piece of machinery and it takes up space and it's kind of noisy. Yeah. So at 70 years old, I would not say so. And like I said, unless you want to create a candy company out of the deal or something like that. But
or if you had some kids that wanted to go in on it with you, someone would leave it behind, maybe.
Right. Or if you can get your kids to go in on it with you. I mean, and then that way, whoever goes in on it with you, then, when you're no longer using it, then they can have it.
Yeah.
Then absolutely.
Jules says oregano is also a great antibiotic, but yes, use carrier oil to take oregano oil supplements. My wife has fed them to me in caplets.
Yep.
And it's the worst burps ever. I'm like, don't do that to me. That's like horrible.
Try doing it with garlic oil.
Oh, no, thanks. I'm out. B, you're in here and you're listening. Do not even try that with garlic oil. Don't. Juby Joel says, don't take a hot bath with peppermint oil.
Oh, no.
Yeah, no, thanks. I'm out. Sweet Savory Word says you're awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, Juby Joe says joint purchase with family. Yep.
Yeah, that would work.
Yeah, Jules says I still have some oils from 10 years ago that still seem to be highly potent, but then again, I don't use them as often right now as I used to. If
you don't like open them up every day and aren't smelling them, then they're going to maintain some of the potency. I mean, and maybe you just use more of them. I mean, I definitely would never throw them away. I absolutely don't throw them away. But when you go to use them, maybe use a little bit more. But I would definitely not throw them away, and still keep them in a dark place. Keep them, and just don't leave the lids off of them so that they can maintain. Because usually when they put them in the bottles, they usually have, they put a carrier, not a lot of carrier oil in them, but they put a carrier oil in them too. So it's not like 100% that oil, because that would be a very pricey bottle of oil.
Yeah.
So
where do you get your oils from?
Butterfly Express.
Okay.
I used to be a doTERRA person, but doTERRA is very expensive. And I met the lady who owns Butterfly Express out of Clifton, Idaho. Mm-hmm. So she was like 40 minutes away from where I lived in Utah. Mm-hmm. So I got to go up there and go pick up my oils and whatnot. She started doing herbs and so forth in the 70s. So she's a lady who I figure, she probably pretty much knows what she's doing. Mm-hmm. And she doesn't do the multi-level marketing end of it. So it doesn't cost that much money. So like a bottle of peppermint oil from doTERRA, I think was like $21. Mm. And I can pick up a bottle of peppermint for like $7.
Okay.
So, and I personally believe that they're every bit as good as doTERRA's.
Yeah.
I'm just not paying for the name.
An oil press machine where she can make some of her own, which is pretty cool, but I'll make sure that she, checks them out. We're being asked, what is your favorite type of carrier oil? B would say coconut. Is she right?
Coconut's very famous. I like almond.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, I say either one's great.
Okay.
In fact, coconut oil has some of its own, healing attributes too. I mean, it's good for a lot of things too.
Yeah.
So.
Devised Custom Leather says Dr. Boner's peppermint soap is great stuff. If you haven't,
Nice.
I've never tried it, but
I haven't tried that either. We carry a soap out of oh my gosh, I think they're out of Wisconsin. It's a family who makes their own soaps, and we carry their soap line here at the store.
Cool. Oh,
and they have a poison ivy soap and so forth. That's fantastic. And I just picked up a patchouli soap from them,
cool.
and I'm excited to see what that's all about.
You know, the longer we talk, the more things I see that you do. So now we've got soaps, we've got spices, we've got alternative medicine, right? We've got freeze-dried food. Is there something else in your store we should be aware of, Ginger? What are you holding out on?
Well, we do have skincare products here too. And those are all naturally made also.
Cool. Cool. Where do you get them from?
A lady that lives just down the road from me, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay,
she
cool.
makes them, and then she uses her own honey and beeswax stuff from her own bees and stuff.
Yep.
So
all right, cool. Well, hey, we're getting on an hour, so let's real quick. How do people get a hold of you?
Sure. You can reach out to me at myhunnys, myhunnys.com. You can also email me at ginger@myhunnys.com. And I'd be happy to respond. I'd happy to answer questions. And if you have a freeze dryer and have questions, if you want to know if you should get a freeze dryer, I'm more than happy. I'm all about educating. Granted, we're trying to make a living doing this too, but I'm all about educating too. I'd rather see people doing this themselves and learning how to take care of themselves than, my bottom line in terms of finances that way. If somebody can, make their own food and create their own food and create their own food storage, absolutely 100%. I'll do whatever I can do to help them.
Yeah.
So
love that. So is there any social media? Is there a Facebook page or anything people can do?
Yeah. So we're on TikTok. It's My Honey's 2020. We're on Facebook at My Honey's Kitchen, and we're on Instagram at My Honey's Kitchen.
Okay.
So any of those will get you in contact with us on social media. We do have a YouTube channel that is kind of stagnant right now. I'm just learning how to revive it, and we're going to do some cooking with freeze-dried foods. And then we're hoping to put together a contest that we're going to be doing in Kansas City toward the end of June, and you'll purchase your freeze-dried products from us and create your own recipe using our products. And then we're going to be putting together a cookbook, and your recipes will go in the cookbook with our recipes.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, so we're gonna give it a trial run, and then we talked to Bobby about maybe introducing that at the next event too.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he'd be happy to. Bobby's pretty easy if you just look at him.
I know he's a great guy.
Yep. All right, cool. Well, you know what? I really appreciate you coming on, and I wish I had known you had a YouTube channel, because we could have broadcast this simultaneously on your channel.
Well, that would have been fun.
Help build your content. That's okay. We'll do it another time. Maybe one of these days we should get some of these herb witches that are all amongst all of us, and you guys can sit down and have a big conversation right here about all of the things you do, because the truth is I make fun of them, but I love every bit of it.
I say it's great. I mean, I don't know. They're great people. I haven't met a witch person that I don't like. My kids always call me a witch doctor. Yeah. So
I call my wife a witch doctor all the time. But the truth is I love it. It just gives me something to give her a hard time about, but
absolutely.
Yeah, we got to keep it up. But anyway, all right, cool. Well, you got any parting words? Anything you want to say to everybody before we go?
Yeah, just good luck with preparing for the future, and let's keep our fingers crossed that we can all stay in contact and keep our community alive.
Yep. Amen. All right. Well, we're going to get out of here, and I'm going to connect you with Tabletop as soon as we're done.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah. See you, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye, guys.